الحمد لله رب العالمين، بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين. نحمده ونستعين به ونتوكل عليه، ونصلي على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، حبيب إله رب العالمين بالقاسم محمد، وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. من طلع جاسم للحروب، وطلعت رملة تودعه. من طلع جاسم للحرب، وطلعت رملة تودعه. جاسم يقلهم من برأس، يا واد أسألك الدعاء. شي يقول قلب أمه من بين العساكر شافته. شابا أخيه على الثرى، مطروح بدمه سباح. عليه انحنى وجمعه جرى، من كبد غيث الهم طفاح. شالوا وصدر بالخيم، وهروج قلبه مقطعه. خلاه ما بين اخوته، وتخاصر باب الخيم. صاح لاخواته وعمته، والرملة والباقي الحرم. جمر المصيبة مهجته، يسعر ودلالا انسجام. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب سينقلبون، والعاقبة للمتقين. وتحسب إنك جرم صغير، وفيك انطوى العالم الأكبر. You consider yourself to be a speck, but within you a great universe has spread open. This is statement, some narration, they said that the Imam Ali said it. And there's others, they said it's not Imam Ali who said this statement. But most of the ulama, they don't disagree with this statement. وتحسب أنك جرم صغير، وفيك انطوى العالم الأكبر. What is pointing it? It's pointing that human has amazing capabilities, and he need to employ these capability for controlling this alam, the universe. If we look to the human beings and we compare it to other creations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, the creation that we know, like for example, the jinn, the malaika, the animals. What is the difference in us from them? Is the main difference from us our intellect, our capability to think, analyze, and make decisions. Although there's some of the creation like jinn, they have also intellect, and the malaika as well. But the human is dominated all the other creation with its intellect and making the decisions. If we look into the capabilities of malaika, if we look to the ayat of Surah Al-Nazi'at, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَالنَّازِعَاتِ غَرْقًا وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا وَالسَّابِحَاتِ سَبْحًا فَالسَّابِقَاتِ سَبْقًا فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا. This is the 5 ayahs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us some information about how the malaika works. Ayah number 1, they said this mala'ikat of al-maut, which is تقبض روح الكفار. النازعات غرقا. الناشطات نشطا. It started when the malaika, they are very ready to take the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They wait to take the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are so energetic, waiting for the commands coming from Allah, so they will, when they get it, they will fly sabihati sabha in this universe to come to the earth like glider. They come, but they are racing with each others. فَالسَّابِقَاتِ سَبْقًا, who will achieve the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It looks like there's several malaika work together, or they took the commands. Who come first? Who will apply the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا, so they manage the command. Allah doesn't need the malaika, but Allah give opportunity to His creations to do something, and that's what He give to the malaika, to apply their commands. They control the wind, they control the other things, they control this universe. Who's better, human or the malaika? Then we look to the jinn. Also, they have some capability. Allah created them from energy, and we created from clay. But who's the prophet? Who owns the prophet? Humans or jinn? All the prophets, from Adam to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, they were from human, and they are the prophet for the human and jinn. Proof of that, when we look into the Quran, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ يَا مَعْشَرَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ إِنِ اسْتَطَعْتُمْ أَن تَنفُذُوا. All this ayat is talking about too. It looks like the Quran is sent down to whom? To the jinn as well as human. So who's the prophet of the jinn? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. He's the prophet of human, and he's the prophet of jinn. And that's why when we look into the Iblis, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He commanded him to prostrate to Adam, he refused because he rejected the imamats of humans on the jinn. He wasn't a disbeliever. He was believers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he rejected the imamat of the human. So the human has the authority on all those creations. We have so much capability, and these are all is potential within us, but we are not use it. If we look into Hawariyun of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, they walk on water. Why? Because they are believers. They have so much capability. If we look to the Khidr, alayhi salatu wasalam, he is not a prophet, but he got so ilm and the stories of Musa and the Khidr and how the Khidr show in a practical way some knowledge to Musa. He's not a prophet, but he's still alive, uh, and he's still delivering the message of Allah or performing the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Quran shows 3 stories of the Khidr with the Musa to show us how this Abid has so much capability to moving on this earth and doing commands of Allah, like the Malaika, where they send down and they do the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What else we heard? We hear about Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. Allah sent the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, flew the Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Qudus, Jerusalem, and then he took him to the heavens, and he also saw the Nar, and he talked with many prophets, and he talked with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't see Allah. So Shia, just an information, Shia cannot, we believe no one can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, neither here or in the hereafter. So he talked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but all this happened in one night. What the capability of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam to, as a human, to travel from Mecca to Qudus at that time, 1400 years ago, and then he traveled to the sky. Why? Because he has the Iman. That's why he have the authority, control on this earth. And if you're looking also some narrations, which is, I don't know exactly if they are strong enough to or weak, they talk about some talk about other creations on this universe. And who's their prophets? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who's their imams? Our imams. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates so much capability in us, but we are not use it. And also, if you remember Surah the Prophet Sulaiman, he controlled the wind. He talked with animals. All this capability, how he get it? He get it because Allah gave it to him, because he's capable, he's Khalifa of Allah on this earth. If we look to the Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 30, with قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. So I appointing a Khalifa. What do you mean of Khalifa? Successive authority. What's the mean? That's mean you present Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is a hadith Qudsi, and some ulama say this a weak hadith, but some of them they said it's okay. The content it's okay. But if you understand it correctly, Abdi ata'ni takun mithli, and in different forms it came. If you obey me, you'll be like me. What does being like me? That's mean you be, I will give you a capability that none of the normal human can have. So, إذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة. When we be a Khalifa, we will control this earth. The Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallahu Farajahu al-Sharif will appear. And that's what we started our muhadarat or lectures of this Muharram. In Surah An-Nur, Ayah 55, Allah what is promised us, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appointing Adam as the Khalifa, He will promise the mu'mineen to control the earth as the Adam is controlled, as all the Anbiya is control all the creations. Are we controlling the Malaika now? We're not. Are we controlling the jinn? We're not. Are we controlling maybe the other creation? We're not. But if we do these two things, Iman and Amal al-Salih, the belief and good deeds, if we do it, the Imam will appear and we will have the authorities on this earth as the Adam has the authorities on all these creations that Allah is created. So it's our job, as we said, we want to have the Imam with us. We are waiting for him. So we have to do two things, Iman and good deeds. So this is an invite for all the youth, adults, to work for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this community. This center is open for you, for your ideas, and come with ideas. Work hard for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should start it with our city and distribute this to others. Because it's a time too late for us, it's just waiting and wasting our time, and then generation and generations pass, and we don't have the Imam with us. And all these lectures about akhlaq, we need to learn about the education, about what else we said, about the hadaf, goals, missions. All this is enable us to have a right amal salih, right good deeds. The great things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah At-Tawbah, ayah number 105, وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Who's your employer when you work for good deeds? It's Allah. So how you need to do it? With perfections. Perfect work you have to do when you do anything for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best of all your capability have to put it when you work for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He's the employer. He's not a human. He's not give you money. He give you everything. So you have to work hard when being employed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We call it volunteering, but this actually you are working as employee under the employer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any amal you do, Allah will look at you and see how you do it. With niyyah, with all your best, all of that, He's looking to you. Are you doing it with all these intentions, or you just do it? It's just I have to volunteer here so I can have a reference for my university or for my work, or it's going to benefit me for me to have a good personalities and the ability to talk, communicate, and so on. Or this is a job that I has to do it because Allah will be my employer and I have to satisfy my employer. As you go to the work, the adults go to work, and maybe if the employer wants you 8 o'clock, can you go 8:05? Past 5:08? Sorry, 8? You can't. You have to be there in 8. If the employer tell you, you have to be 8, you go be 8. Your employer is Allah. Why you do the amal is halfway through, you come late, you do it lazy, you do it halfway. We have to do it perfect because our employer. Second, who's looking to your amal when you do it? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Imam Ali give us an advice: when you pray, imagine there's Rasulullah, look to your salat. Not parents look to your salat. Rasulullah looks at your salat, and actually he's look at your salat. You see it, you do it in lazy way just to satisfy your parents, or you do it for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He would count it. In Yawm al-Qiyamah, he will say, I witness Fatima did the salat perfectly. She was sincere when she did the salat. You get the shafa'at of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. والمؤمنون, who's the mu'minun? الأئمة عليهم الصلاة والسلام. Imam al-Hujjah looks your amal, your deeds. So when you work for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are satisfying Allah, Rasulullah, and the Imam al-Hujjah ajjalallahu farajahu al-sharif. As this, إن هذا لهو الفوز العظيم. As Allah described the Amal al-Salih in Surah al-Safat, إن هذا لهو الفوز العظيم. It's a mighty victory. And for لمثل هذا فليعمل العاملون. And for the like of this, let the worker work. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam, and some narration, I'm not sure if this narration came actually from Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, لا تقصروا أولادكم على آدابكم فإنهم مخلوقون لزمان غير زمانكم. What's mean? Some people understand it that we have to be very soft with our children. If they said we don't want to pray, tell them, okay, up to you, don't pray. If they don't fast, don't fast. So at least they are believing in Allah, and that's enough. That's not correct. The method, the way we deliver the information, it's different from generation to another generations. If we look at the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, من آبائهم المؤمنين لا يعلمونهم شيء من الفرائض وإذا تعلم أولادهم منعوهم ورضوا عنهم بعرض يسير من الدنيا فأنا منهم بريء وهم مني براء. The one who is not teaching their children and only just focusing on their education. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I am from them bari. I don't want them. They are not from my ummah. Our responsibility as a father and mother to educate our children, not just math, physics, and be successful in university. No, for the religion. To be from the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Rasulullah, you said, لأن يؤدب الرجل ولده خير له من أن يتصدق كل يوم بنصف صاع. The best, if you donate money, but you're not educating your children, there's no comparison here. The education, the children is most important than you generate and work for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what's the problems here? We need to change our method of inviting our children for the religion. There's something is called creativity and innovation. Creativity, that's you come something very new, unique. No one has come with this idea. Innovation, you use other people's idea and adapt it to something else. And become creativity and innovation become a very important to the workplaces. And the employer starting to say, you need to be creative, you need to be innovative, and they want to encourage to see the innovations and creativities from the employee and become one of the most important uh, traits that Allah that the employer wants it from the employee. So it's good for you for the employment, but also as we have a lacking how we deliver the religion to our children. This is the main problems that our children is not accepting the religion. We have to be thinking more creative, more innovative way to approach them or to approach them to bring them to the Islam and make them like the Islam. So I attend a classes this summer about this, about the creativity and innovations. So they said you have to look for 8 things when you be innovative, when you be creative. There's something there's called 8 things. First, keep learning. You want to be innovative? Keep learning. Keep the learning the religion. For example, if I want to be innovative in a religion, I need to be educate myself in it. Also, I need to educate myself for the tools that help me to be innovative. What these tools? They call some of them like mind mapping, brainstorming, and these kind of the tools. Then they say you needed to take a break. What's the take a break? Sometimes when you work, you don't achieve. You have to take sometimes the breaks. So the good things when we are a community, we have to have sometimes travel like goes and a picnic together, have a kind of a celebration, not necessarily religion, but this is it's called a take a break, just to give us refreshing our brain to think more creative. What else they said? To be also uh, make time for creativity. So creative ideas, it's need time. When you create them, it take you time to create them. And also find a right place for you to think about them. Other things, collaborations between each others, like work as a group, a small group. Let's think what we can do for share of September as event for our children, as look for maybe as you as a youth, what I can do for the community. And maybe I say, oh, I have a friendship with someone but he has a different skills, so let's bring all together and think about a creative way to attract our youth or other brothers to Islam. The thinking creativity that is really aligned with what the Emir al-Mu'mineen said, لا تقصروا أولادكم على آدابكم. Because the way we learn, you have to go to pray. Yalla سووا wudu, pray now. This is the way we learn. Our parents teach us. But this way doesn't work now for this generation. We have to think another ways, another methods, and this has to come from the majorities of us. So as I like everyone to think how he can be more beneficial for this community, he can bring ideas, or a group of people think about new ideas for doing things, and we are open, and there is always a space for us for these creative ideas. So one things I want to uh, finish my talk tonight. Does Islam against creativity and innovations? We know that Islam sent to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than 1400 years ago. Does the Islam prevent us from bringing new ideas? And what the Islam accept, what the Islam does not accept? We need to think about this. There's in Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 59. يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر. So anything, can I create a new ibadah? No. Can I create a new fiqh? No. Can I create a new law? No. Because the ayah clearly said only one is allowed to do so is Allah and His Prophet. And we know there is no prophet nowadays. And the last prophet is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Prophet is a passed away. So we don't see him among us to create a new things for us. So anything, this is not allowed to create a new things. But how we deliver the message is allowed to have a creative way to deliver it. But should be same message, the message of Allah and the message of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Zurara, he was one of the companions of the Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, Halal Muhammad halal ila yawm al-qiyamah wa haramuhu haram ila yawm al-qiyamah, because the Islam is the current. So the halal doesn't change. The haram doesn't change. Stay. Halal at the time of the Prophet, halal is now. Salat 3 rak'ah for Maghrib, 3 rak'ah now, 3 rak'ah to the Day of Judgment. Nothing changed. But how I deliver to say to my children to pray, this can be changed from era to era, time to time. Delivering the message, it's okay. But changing the message is not. When you are trying to do a program or activities, if you don't know what you are doing is halal or haram, or you breaching the Islam, is it good for asking question to people who more knowledgeable about the Islam. Very dangerous we are preaching any laws of the Islam or have any effect on what we are doing on changing the Islam, because that is not going to be accepted from us. Tonight we are remembering Al-Qasim bin Al-Hasan bin Ali alayhi salati wassalam. So Al-Qasim was 11 years old when he was in Ma'rakat al-Taf or Ma'rakat Karbala, around 11 years old. So looking to that, a young person who come to defend his uncle Aba Abdullah, defends his Imam al-Zaman at his time, Aba Abdullah al-Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. This is tell us there is no age limit to serve the Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu farajahu al-Sharif. If you are like 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, there is always opportunity to serve the Imam ajjalallahu farajahu al-Sharif. Always think about how you can serve the Imam of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. If you started with the earlier age like your age, you are wonderful. You are become closer and closer to the Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu farajah, and you are hastening to appearance of the Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu farajah al-Sharif. So this is an invite for you. Thinking from tonight, what you can do for the Islam. what you can do for the Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Farajahu Sharif. Do you want to write a poetry? Do you want to create a program for the Imam? Do you want to create program for educating people for Islam? It's all the doors is open for you. Think about it. There's no limit. There's no restriction for it. We want the people to come and do activities for others. Because last night, what we talked about, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. We want to have that tawasul, communications. And communication, no different, no age limit. And one thing is for the parents, always I noticed when someone, as a young person, like maybe as 6 years old, he presenting here, what's the parents doing? Chatting. Believe me or not, I learn from the children more than I learn from the scholars that come here. I look to their speeches when we have, for example, sometimes celebrations of the Imams. I sit and listen to all the speeches because I learn from it. First, you learn. Second, you encourage them. You are talking. What happened? Next day, times they will not come because they been not being listened. So very important for us as a community. When someone is talking, we have to listen to that person. As we said before, the communication level, listening without understanding, then listening with understanding. This is second level. Even someone is not talking about a language I don't know, I should listen to him. First, this is a communication skill for me. One of the best communication skills is listening. One times I read in a book about a person. He was in a party. It's just Western story. He was in a party, but he left everyone. He sit beside a woman, an old woman, and you know when the elders, what they do, they talk about their experience. And she all the time she was talking, and the guy just nodding his head to her for all his party. Usually the Western, when they go party, they want to enjoy themselves, but he sat beside her, and what she said to him, you are the best communicator, I enjoy the talking with you. When we need to learn these skills, this is skills of life. It's in majalis we talk, when the children's presenting we talk. Doesn't work like this. We have to improve our community to start to listen to people, and the listen is the best way for communication skills. And that's, you need to be successful in your life, this is the way. There's no other ways. So the Al-Qasim alayhi salatu wassalam was 11 years old. How many 11 years old we have in this majlis? 10 years old. 11. Imagine yourself fighting against 30,000 men, soldier. Can you imagine yourself? 40 years old. How many 40 years old? Imagine yourself fighting against 30,000 person, soldiers, and you are alone. How does Iman for this 11 years old come and fight against all these men? For whom? For his Imam, Ajjalallahu Farajahu. That's our. We have to think about it. Can I give something to my imam? Or I have to waste my time in the PlayStations and all these games? Can I practice something and deliver it in the masjid or the Husseiniya, in any Husseinias? Can I think about a good program for the others? Can I create a program? I have skills, I can create programs. I might come with the other person, I create something for the sake of, we have to be active community. So Al-Qasim alayhi salatu wassalam, on the day of Ashura, he asked for the permission to fight, and the Imam al-Hussein gave him the permission to fight. He came out with his face as bright as the moon, holding a sword, wearing shirts and trousers and pair of sandals, and said, إن تنكروني فأنا نجل الحسن سبط النبي المصطفى والمؤتمن هذا حسين كالأسير المرتهن بين أناس لا سقوا صوب المزن. If you do not recognize me, if you do not recognize me, I am the son of the Hassan, the grandson of the Prophet Al-Mustafa Al-Mu'taman. This is the Hussein, like a tied down prisoner among those people who may Allah deprive from his blessing. He's starting to fight until the sandal on his left foot was cut, but the grandson of the great prophet refused to fight barefooted, so he stopped to fix his sandal, not worried about the thousand of enemies that surround him. How brave he is. As he was doing that, Amr attacked him. However, before doing so, Hamid asked Umar, "What do you want from this young boy? It is not enough that there are so many who have surrounded him." Umar replied, "I swear by Allah, I will attack him." He did not leave Al-Qasim alone and eventually strike his head with a sword, and the boy fell down on his face, calling out, "Oh, uncle!" His mother was standing inside her tent and looked at him in shock like an angry lion. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam rushed towards him and struck Umar with his sword. Umar tried to avoid this strike by blocking it with his arm, which is severed from his body. Umar shouted loudly for help, and so the enemy forces mounted their house to go and save him, but he ended up falling under their feet, and the horses stamped over him, killed him, la'anahullah. When the dust settled, Imam al-Hussein was sitting with Al-Qasim, head on his lap, while Qasim was moving his feet. Imam al-Hussein said to him, "بعدا لقوم قتلوك." خصمهم يوم القيامة جدك وأبوك. May the people who killed you by distant from Allah mercy. Your grandfather and your father will be their enemies on the day of judgment. Imam al-Hussein then continued, عز والله على عمك إن تدعوه فلا يجيبك أو يجيبك فلا ينفعك صوت والله كثر واتره وقل ناصره. It's difficult from your uncle that you called him but could not respond to you, or he responded but he cannot help you. It is the voice where attackers are many, but those supporters are only a few. But the supporters are only a few. Imam al-Hussein then picked him up and carried him on his chest, with Qasim feet rocking on the ground, and laid him next to the bodies of Ali al-Akbar. Imam alayhi salam then raised his head to the sky and prayed to the Almighty, اللهم احصهم عددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا ولا تغفر لهم أبدا. Allah, count them all the enemies and do not leave them anymore, any one of them, and do not forgive them ever. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب سينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآل محمد.